The rantings of an old moody Take one. The death of comedy. This is like the second rant I've done in a week, and I can only apologise. I think it's something to do with the lockdown. It's got me a bit cranky, and as I can't see a therapist, I'm just going to have to take it out on you guys. Again, I'm sorry. But I want to talk about where we are today. This world of political correctness where comedians, they constantly feel like they have to explain themselves and apologise. And personally, I do think it has gone too far. Whether you agree or not, that's fine. This is just personal opinion. Honestly, I genuinely welcome your thoughts. But yeah, I just feel so sorry for comedians who are constantly on edge.
But there's a more important reason that I would stop doing comedy right now. And this reason is the real reason that's been percolating, and it really is the crowd, not you. I'm talking about the crowd on the big stage.
It's too hard to entertain a country whose ears are so brittle. It's so sensitive, the whole country is turned into bitch-ass.
The world is constantly changing. Comedy is constantly changing. And maybe you think that's a good thing. And to a certain extent, I'd have to agree with you. You know, as the world evolves, as we evolve as people, yeah, of course we're going to change. There's things that maybe years ago I would have joked about that I definitely wouldn't joke about now. You know, that's me, that's who I am. I hear jokes all the time that I wouldn't actually say myself. But do I get offended by them? No, absolutely not. There is a huge difference between not liking a joke and being offended by it. For example, I'm not a fan of Amy Schumer. I've seen a couple of her stand-ups, you know, I've given her a go, and there must be about 50 jokes in these two stand-ups that I saw about her genitalia. And I just didn't find it funny, you know, I'm not a prude, I just didn't find it funny. So what did I do? Did I take to Twitter to say how offended I was? No, I simply decided her stand-up, it just wasn't for me, and I moved on with my life.
But again, that's what the world is like. People take everything personally. I think the world revolves around them, right? Particularly on Twitter, right? I don't know, I'm not tweeting anyone, I'm just tweeting, okay? I don't know who's following me. I've got 12 million followers. I don't know who's following me. They can be following me without me knowing, right? Choose to read my tweet and then take that personally. That's like going into a town square, seeing a big notice board, and there's a notice, guitar lessons, and you go, but I don't want guitar lessons. What's this? There's a number here. All right, call that, right? Are you giving me guitar lessons? Yeah. I don't want any. Fine, it's not for you then. Just walk away. Don't worry about it.
There's a British sketch show called Little Britain. You might get it overseas, I'm not too sure. But this aired on TV recently. It was for charity, and Little Britain is known for being quite controversial with its gags. And this skit apparently received over 100 complaints. Why, during a pandemic, are people, over 100 people, writing to the BBC, or Ofcom even, to say how offended they were by a sketch show? Surely, during a pandemic, we have bigger, more important things to worry about. That's the world we now live in. And another thing that makes me think that comedy is dead, which... oh, this really is the rant of an old moody man. Anyway, there are so many examples of comedians that have to explain things they said literally years ago. Kevin Hart is a prime example. For as long as he can remember, it was his dream to host the Oscars. And this dream so almost became a reality. But then someone came forward, revealing tweets that he'd written over, I think it was over 10 years ago. And because of that, Kevin Hart, he dropped out of hosting the Oscars. The committee board at the Oscars, they said to him, all you've got to do is apologise and we can move on from this. But he refused. And do you know what? Fair plays to him. And the reason being is because he apologised for these tweets already. Years ago, this surfaced. he apologised, he drew a line. Surely, as human beings, we should be able to make mistakes, but more importantly, learn from them, and therefore then draw a line. You shouldn't have to keep apologising for something you said so long ago every 5 years.
I'm kind of upset because these 10 years are just being ignored. They're being brushed past. Nobody is saying, guys, this is 10 years. No headlines are saying 10 years ago, he apologized. Nobody's finding the apologies. Nobody's finding the footage from where I had to address it. I understand why people would be upset, which is why I made the choice to not use them anymore. I don't joke like that anymore because that was wrong. That was a guy that was just looking for laughs and that was stupid. I don't do that anymore.
There are so many examples out there of people getting offended by old TV shows. When Friends, for example, that popped up on Netflix a while back and it introduced the show to a whole new generation. Most people enjoyed it, but many were outraged, saying how controversial it was. The Monica fat jokes, Ross's ex being a lesbian. Some people even suggesting that things should be altered for a modern audience. No, I don't think so. That's like erasing history. That's like, it's just ignorance saying, no, it never happened. Surely we should be celebrating the fact that we have progressed so much and almost laughing at ourselves. Like, come on, look what we used to be like compared to what we're like now. As the comedian Ricky Gervais once said,
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
even me with my YouTube videos, I'm the type of person that genuinely would never want to upset anyone. Just the thought of that, it upsets me. And yet there's so many times where I've seen something in my video that I've said or one of my friends has said and I thought, oh, that's funny, but I will edit it out because I know people would take it the wrong way. People just hear an offensive word, not given any thought to the context of the joke. They just hear a word and they are offended by that. Oh, well, he said this, so this must be offensive. Outrage, comments. You may be wondering if I think there's a topic or a subject that you shouldn't joke about. No, I genuinely don't. Going back to Ricky Gervais, he had a couple walk out of one of his live shows and the media, they picked up on this and they were kind of hounding him, and his response was actually perfect. In an interview, he said, offence often occurs when people mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target. They are not always the same. Jokes about bad things don't have to necessarily be pro those bad things. Surely a joke that's anti-bad things is a good thing, no?
Offence is about feelings and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues. And sometimes you deal in irony and some people don't get that. But, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So if you're saying anything, you should polarise. You should polarise because everyone's different.
To end the video on a kind of more positive note, do I feel the world is a bit too politically correct? Yes. And do I think some people get offended a bit too easy? Yes. But here's the thing. I don't think those numbers are maybe as high as the media would have us believe. For example, take Joe Blogs, a made-up guy, just a random person like you or I. Say he puts out a tweet saying he saw something in a film or on the TV, it offended him. The news mediums these days, they will take that comment and just put it out there into the world. That is now a news source, where that never used to be the way back in the day. So literally, you can take just one person's comment and just absolutely blow it up. And I see that more and more with the media. Take, for example, Kevin Hart as well. The whole thing that came out of his tweet 10 years ago. That was posted by just a normal person, again, like you or I, and it was the media that kind of just blew it up.
Whole country is turned into bitch-ass.
To go full circle, back to the title of this video, The Death of Comedy. Is comedy dead? No, I generally don't think it is. However, I think we are on a slippery slope. We are going in that direction. Like I said, the media, they probably escalate it, make it seem worse than it is, but it's still happening. And the question is, where do we draw that line? Are jokes that we say today that seem innocent going to be offensive in 10 years' time? Who knows? This is a subject I am very passionate about, and therefore I would love your thoughts. Maybe you have disagreed with every single thing I have said, and if that's the case, that's your prerogative. Nothing wrong with that. Comment below, let's get a conversation going. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you could hit that like, subscribe button, the bell button, it goes a real long way in helping a small channel slowly become a bigger one. I say this every time, but it does genuinely mean so much more to me than you realise. Thank you so much. I bloody love you. See you next time.
How dare you!